guys, welcome back to my channel. Over the past few weeks, we've talked about the different routes you can take to publish your book, either traditional publishing or self-publishing. We've talked about the differences between the two, and hopefully you've kind of figured out maybe which path you're leaning towards. I've also laid out the differences between some print-on-demand companies, specifically Ingram Spark and CreateSpace. Hopefully you're leaning more towards one route, and if that route happens to be self-publishing, then this video is for you. Today we're going to talk about the basics of self-publishing, and I'm going to provide you with a mini checklist to help you get started with the whole process. Trust me, it's a long one, and it's also kind of an expensive one, but I'll get into that more a little bit later. Make sure you stay tuned at the end of this video because I will be revealing the cover for the second book in the Alpha Drive series, The Order of Omega. Okay, all of you self-publishers out there, it's time for you to listen up. Since self-publishing requires a lot of work up front from you, the author, we're going to have to break this mini-series up a little bit. So today we'll start with part one, which I'd like to call the pre-setup for self-publishers for works of fiction. These are all things that you need to have done before you even think of uploading your manuscript to a print-on-demand company. So number one, make sure your manuscript is in tip-top shape. At this point in the game, your manuscript should have been read and reread, edited and revised so many times by you, beta readers, critique partners, and a professional editor that the thought of even reading it again makes you want to stab yourself in the eye with a searing hot fork. That's graphic. If you're not at this point yet, then your manuscript probably isn't ready to be published. I was so tired of my debut novel, The Alpha Drive, by the end of the whole editing process that I did not pick it up and read it again until just last month. That is 5 months after the publication date, you guys. I digress. Hiring a professional editor is extremely important. It's actually because of this reason that self-published works tend to get a bad reputation. Yes, professional editors can be expensive, and yes, you might think that you can't afford one, but the truth is, you can't afford to not have one. Don't leave researching professional editors to the last minute either, because a lot of them have a full roster of clients. Book your time with them well in advance. Many authors grossly underestimate the time it takes to actually edit a book. They'll think, oh, I wrote it, I read it once, and now it's ready to be published. So wrong. To give you a more accurate time frame, you should allow for 1 month for your professional editor to send you your manuscript back with initial feedback. Then, depending on the complexity of the suggestions and the amount of time that you can spend each day incorporating those suggestions into your manuscript, add another 1 or 2 months. Then you'll send this edited manuscript back to your editor or another proofreader for a final edit or proofread, and this can take another month. So the entire editing process with just a professional editor alone can take up to 3 months or more. I would advise you to find your editor while you're still writing the first draft, a good 2 months before you need them to do your first edit. Then send them your manuscript for the first edit at least 5 to 6 months before your projected publication date. Number two, choose your title carefully. I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to choose a great title for your book and to do your research to make sure another book doesn't already exist out there with that same title. This is especially true for fantasy authors. Many fantasy titles tend to use a lot of the same words: throne, queen, shadow, crown, sword, midnight, glass, just to name a few. Those fantasy titles also have very similar formatting. Just make sure your title is original and it isn't already out there. At the very least, have your title finalized 5 months before your projected publication date, so that way you can start pre-publication marketing. Normally, once your manuscript is finished and finalized, it's much easier to come up with a title for your book because you know the entire story in and out, you know how it's going to end, and you know what themes are present in your story. If you're still having trouble, there are people out there that you can hire to help you craft a title for your book. Number three, find a high-quality professional cover designer. Just like you may think you can't afford a professional editor, you may also think that you can skimp out and not hire a professional cover designer. Do not do this. Unless you majored in graphic arts or computer design, do not open up Paint or PowerPoint on your computer and try to create the cover for your book yourself. Your cover is the first thing that potential readers see. And as much as we all like to say we don't judge books by their covers, the hard truth is that we do. So don't throw your years of hard work writing the book of your heart down the drain because you didn't want to spend money on a professional cover designer. Do your work justice. Give your story the cover that it deserves. Researching reputable cover designers is going to take time, just like it takes time to research professional editors, but it's worth the time. Again, try to get your front cover finalized, or at least have the concept for it, 5 to 6 months before your projected publication date. The sooner you have the front cover finalized, the sooner you can start pre-marketing and creating buzz for your book. If you're having trouble finding a great cover designer, I would recommend using a company called DAMONZA. DAMONZA is actually my cover designer, and I am always beyond satisfied with the work that they do, as well as the turnaround time to get my ideas for the cover on the actual cover of the book. I also think that their pricing is pretty reasonable for the quality of the work and the outstanding service that you receive. I will also link DAMONZA down below in case you are interested and want to go check out some of the covers they've done. Number 4, write your back cover synopsis. Equally as important as the content of your book, as well as the front cover of your book, is what is on the back of the book. Once a reader sees your cover and decides they might be interested, what's the next thing they do? They turn the book over to read the synopsis. Hook 1 complete. Now for hook 2. Make sure your back cover synopsis is enticing, well written, and uses active voice. If you're more of a long-winded writer and not so great at writing brief summaries, don't fret. There are people out there who can help you with this, although I will say that no one's going to know and understand your book like you do. The hard thing here is that you know so much about your book that you may not know what to include and what to leave out in your brief synopsis. Try reading some back covers of books you've read in the genre you've written. It will take practice and quite a few revisions, but eventually it will get there. You'll also want to have this completed 5 to 6 months before your projected publication date. Are we seeing a trend here? This is because your cover designer will need that back cover synopsis when they are creating the design for your front, spine, and back cover. Number 5, create a publishing company. If you're planning on publishing more than one book, either now or in the future, it is a smart idea to consider setting up a publishing company. Why? For professional reasons. Every book you'll see has a publisher name on the copyright page as well as a logo on the spine of the book. In choosing a name for your publishing company, choose one that goes beyond the message of your current book and expresses the message of potential future books. What is the theme of your overarching message? Where do you see yourself going as an author? Research large publishers and small publishers alike to see trends in the names of those publishing houses. Just like the title of your book, you'll want to research and make sure there's not already another publishing company out there with the name that you've come up with. At a minimum, you can set up an LLC, which is a limited liability company, on websites like LegalZoom for relatively cheap. If this seems a little bit out of your wheelhouse, you can always use your own social security number for tax purposes and skip the publishing company entirely. But if you're serious about self-publishing and being an author with multiple works, I would highly recommend creating a publishing company. Number 6, get your ISBN numbers. Once you've established your publishing company, it is time for you to get a batch of ISBN numbers. ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number. An ISBN is a 13-digit number assigned to every book before publication. Furthermore, you are required to use a different ISBN number for every format of the book you publish. In other words, if you intend to print a paperback, a hardcover version, and an ebook, then you will need 3 different ISBN numbers. For ebooks, things can get a little bit complicated. Most authors don't realize that for every format of an ebook, you do need to have a different ISBN number. So your Kindle ebook will need a different ISBN number than your Kobo ebook and your Smashwords ebook, etc. While Smashwords and Kindle can assign the ISBN for your book, just remember that that would technically make them the publisher instead of you. It's also important to realize that organizations that assign ISBNs are actually different for every country. In the UK, Nielsen is the ISBN provider. In the US, Bowker is the official ISBN agency. I'll link both of those down below for you guys in case you want to go check them out. Now, some ISBN providers require that you purchase a minimum of 10 ISBNs at a time. I recommend doing this because you'll actually go through them a lot faster than you think, especially if you're writing multiple books in multiple formats. Again, you want to have your ISBNs ready to go at least 5 to 6 months before your projected publication date. If you're a first-time author who is just setting up your publishing company, you may have some paperwork that you need to do that could take a few hours. And after you request your first batch of 10 ISBNs, it can take up to 10 working days to get all of those ISBNs to show up on your account. For me, it actually took only 48 hours, so it was relatively fast. So that concludes part 1 of the basics of self-publishing. I hope you enjoyed the content of this video. If you did, please thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And now I'm going to reveal the cover for the Order of Omega. Drum roll, please. I am so happy with it and so grateful for my cover designer. She is amazing. I'd love to hear what you guys think of the cover, so feel free to leave comments down below. The Order of Omega will be released on Tuesday, November 8th, 2016, so don't forget to mark your calendars. My debut novel, The Alpha Drive, is still available for purchase in both paperback and ebook on Amazon right now, so I would love for you to check it out. If you have any questions or anything you'd like for me to talk about in one of my next videos, you can leave a comment down below or you can tweet at me at author Kristen M. This weekend, I will actually be attending the Dallas-Fort Worth Writers Conference, April 23rd and 24th, so I am really looking forward to that. Next week's video, I think, will be a vlog at the Writers Conference and also preparing for it, how to prep if you're going to pitch to an agent. So stay tuned for next week and I will have a vlog on that. I also have some exciting news for the month of May and I guess June, and I'll be announcing that shortly, so make sure you're following me on Twitter and Instagram and all these other fun social media sites to stay up to date. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Tuesdays. I will see you guys next time. Bye! Look at all these little bug babies. I can't even see all of them. Whoa, that's exciting. So many of them. Whoa! They said it was gonna rain yesterday. It was sunny yesterday. Said it was gonna rain today. It's not sunny today, but it's not raining. Lame. Lame sauce. Lacey.